base building has significantly changed within the Town Hall 17 update. Not only have we received 2 new defensive buildings, but also a new flying hero. And in this video I'll guide you through the process of building a Town Hall 17 base from scratch, and will also give you some nice insights when it comes to my thinking process. And let's start off how I like starting off building a base, and that's with the Town Hall. And on Town Hall 17, the most important thing which you need to watch out for is pathing. The only way how you can defend on Town Hall 17 is with pathing, because both root riders are incredibly strong and also the RC charge is incredibly strong, and both of them rely on pathing. Walls of course don't matter with those 2 troops, so the only thing how you can defend them is with when it comes to pathing to the core of the base or also towards your key defenses. So we want to make a kind of a dead core with a rage tower as well as 3 multi-inferno towers. So that's how we are going to start off. We enclose the Town Hall compartment. So the Town Hall compartment is relatively on its own. And now we need to take a look, how are we going to place our multi-inferno towers? We need to place one there. And then we can hopefully place one there. Yes, exactly. And we will place one there. And then we will close off these 3 compartments. And then with a few walls, we can actually make the pathing towards the core relatively interesting. So we close these off. We always want to have the clan castle relatively into the core of the base, because, well, elsewise you can lure the clan castle relatively easily. So we will place it right here. And of course, the clan castle is not a defensive building, so it won't lure the royal champion or the root fighters towards the core of the base, where we of course don't want them. And the rest of the holes, we will just fill them up with a few walls, so we have even more dead spaces where our root fighters and the enemy RC are not going to attack. So we have a very nice core setup with not too much value. If you were to put a Yeti clone blimp into the core of the base, we are not offering a whole lot of value, which is great, which is absolutely amazing. And of course, it is not too easy to funnel your root fighters or your royal champion into the core of the base. And the exact same thing we are also going to do on the other side. So we want to make the Inferno unwalkable, and also we want to have 4 walls in between. On Town Hall 14, on Town Hall 16 it wouldn't have mattered, you can just make the walls like this. But this time a thrower will be able to still attack the Town Hall as well as the multi-inferno tower, which we of course do not want. So therefore we have to place yet another wall. So therefore we have to place yet another gap in between. And we make it symmetrical, of course. Perfect. And if you haven't seen already, we are now going to build a diamond base, or well, a diamond anti-2-star base. Box bases are currently mainly the #1 base type, but it's not my strength. I am not really good at building box bases, so I'm going to show you how to still build a diamond base or a diamond anti-2-star base at Town Hall 17. Now, of course, we also want to enclose this, so you cannot reach the multi-inferno towers from the top compartment. And we also need to place some dead buildings inside of here. So we'll place a storage right there, a storage right there, and we will fill it up with 2 of our hero banners, exactly like that. We have the Archer Queen there, we have the Royal Champion right there. And once again, the pathing is not too nice, we'll make it a little like this. And now we also need to place something at the 12 o'clock corner. I'm probably going to make a little dead zone here as well. So I will close this off, and then I will place 2 walls right there. Now the only big main thing is we still need to somehow get Weepers into the core of the base, as well as, of course, we want to have some builder huts into the core of the base, because, well, without builder huts, if you damage those buildings, then, well, The town hall can easily be taken out because there is no builder hut healing it up. So we need to take care of that. We are going to place one builder hut right there. We are going to place an air sweeper right there. We are also going to place an air sweeper right there and a builder hut right there. And this should be quite okay. We still don't have nice pathing into the core of the base. Of course, with a Yeti blimp, you now get a little bit more value, as well as with a cloned loon blimp. But of course, you don't want to place the sweepers like this, because you can zap them together. And you also don't want to place your sweepers like this, because it's easier to align a giant arrow for both of these sweepers. So that's why we have both of these sweepers offset. And I think this is going to work perfectly. At least I hope so. But now the big question is, how are we going to continue with the base? And the biggest question is, what are we going to use for a second spell tower? So we have, of course, we have three options: an invisibility tower, a poison tower, or a rage tower. Invisibility tower I cannot recommend. Invisibility tower is mainly only good if you are going to use it next to the town hall, which is of course not possible in this case. Well, it would be possible, but it wouldn't be recommended. So of course we can put a invisibility tower right here. But still, there are a few buildings into the core. It's only going to work if every single building into the core, in the core of the base, will be triggered by the invisibility tower, or will be invisible because of the invisibility tower. So using the invisibility tower on this base is not going to be recommended. So we have two more options. So that leaves us with two options. It's either a rage tower, a second rage tower, or a poison tower. How much I would have liked to place a second rage tower, it's probably not the best idea, because, well, rage towers are incredibly vulnerable when it comes to a RC walk. So if I, for example, were to place a rage tower right here, and I place a few ricochet cannons as well as a few scatters right here, those are all inside of the rage tower. Very nice, very nasty rage tower setup. Of course, depth value is going through the roof with this one, but hey, it's just as it just counts as an example. You don't want to place a invisibility tower like this too far outside of the base, because it's just free value for an RC walk or a Royal Champion charge. So most likely we are going to use a poison tower at the 12 o'clock side, together with the monolith, to hopefully make the setup relatively hard to get with a RC walk. And of course we are going to enclose this compartment. We want to have 5 walls on, well, 5 tiles between the wall as well as the building, so throwers can't reach it on every single one of these sides. So now the throwers can't reach it from where the wizard tower is, from here, and also from this side. It's not, the throwers are not able to reach the monolith. Very nice. And now I see I'll probably have to place the clan castle one more tile inside, so it's just a little harder to get. And also I can save 2 walls with that. That's also perfect. But now the question is, what are we going to do with our 2 scatter shots and also with our 2 fire spitters? And those are of course very important defenses, and you want to have something good in mind for it. My biggest concern is currently walls. I have the idea of placing these scatter shots maybe roughly like here, and then doing something like having a dead zone right here, but I don't think it will fit. Or will it? It might fit. It might actually fit. So we could do something like this. This could be quite interesting. But the biggest question is, will we have enough walls for it to be able to have any benefits on our base? We'll just try it out. I'll place it one more tile towards there, so throwers can't reach it from every single side. And we do the exact same thing on the opposite side as well. We want to have a scatter shot right here. We want to enclose the compartment like this, and we want to have a dead zone on the outside. How many walls do we still have left? We have 48 walls left, which is of course not much. Which is of course not much to still build. How many compartments? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 48 walls with 5 compartments. That's not a whole lot. So I think we have to scrap the idea of doing something like this. We need to get rid of the dead zones. The scatter shots can stay there. The scatter shots can surely stay there, but not with the extra walls. And now the big question is, what are we going to do with our 6 o'clock setup? I think I'll just make an enclosed compartment like this. How many walls do we still have left? 53 for 4 compartments. Oh gosh. Walls might be a problem with this base. Walls might surely be a problem with this base, which I do not like. I dislike that. I dislike that very, very much. But we'll just continue building. But I still don't really have a solution on what to do with our fire spitters. The fire spitters are still quite a small problem. Maybe I also need to change the core setup and maybe fit some fire spitters in there. Or I will maybe switch the elixir storages with fire spitters. That could actually be nice. The biggest concern is then, well, you have some great pathing into the core of the base, which I of course do not want. But still, where are we going to place our fire spitters? Probably something like this, but we will have to face them downwards. We could maybe actually use this as a little bait. So if you face them downwards, of course, attackers are going to go in from the top side. And the clan castle will then be on the back side, which is perfect for any dragon attacks. If you go in from the top side with the dragon attack, the clan castle is in the back end of the base, where you of course do not really want to have it. If you go in from the bottom side, then you will have both fire spittings facing towards the core of the base. And if you go in from the top side, you also don't have the best clone value, because, well, you are going from the town hall side and not from the defensive side, so not from the side where the 3 Inferno towers are located. So it's really hard to take out those 3 Inferno towers. So I actually think I'm going to leave it like this. Now the biggest question is, do we have enough walls to make some nice compartments for it? But I do think that will be possible. We will enclose these 2 compartments. Perfect. And now we basically have our base done. More or less. More or less we have our base done. We can probably save some walls right here if we were to make these compartments straight. So we can do something like this. Perfect. And this should probably work. We saved up some walls. Now instead of 3 walls, we actually have 9 walls. So we've saved up 6 walls by doing this. But now the question is, what are we going to do with those 9 remaining walls? We can make it 10 remaining walls if we open up this compartment, which is not too bad. And we can place 5 walls on every single one of this side, which is also going to make pathing into both of these air targeting heroes a little harder, which is probably not too shabby. With that, we have the main part of our base done. And now the question is, what are we going to do with our... And that brings us to our last big question. What are we going to do with our merge defenses? Merge defenses, of course, are pretty important. They are pretty strong defenses. I think I will put 2 of them on the top side. But now the question is, will those be ricochet cannons or will those be multi-archer towers? And the answer will be those will be ricochet cannons, because elsewise the zap volume will probably be too large, or will it? But I think ricochet cannons is actually the better alternative, because, well, of course, dragon attacks are going to come in from the top side due to this 2 fire spittings facing towards the core of the base. So basically any attack will be entering from the top side. So if we have those multi-arch towers, for example, here on the back side, those are really going to hurt your dragons. those will hurt your dragons on the backhand, and that's perfect for us. That's absolutely perfect for us. And the third multi-archer tower we are of course going to place here, or will we just do something like this? Something like this could also be interesting, to be honest. I think something like this is even more interesting. And now we still have 2 heroes. Now the question is, are we going to place both our heroes at the bottom side, or are we going to place one of our heroes at the bottom side and one of our heroes at the top side? But I think placing both of our heroes at the bottom side is actually quite a nice idea. Now we will support it with a few storages and maybe a few archer towers. So 1 archer tower right here and maybe 1 archer tower right here. And then we have something like this, but now the question is, how are we going to close off those compartments? Maybe I'm also going to make the compartment a little bit smaller. So something like this. And now I can make the compartment a little bit smaller. I will also save up 2 walls in a process, which I can of course place 1 right there and also 1 right there. I think this looks quite interesting. The Barbarian King will be quite annoying together with the Minion Prince. Or will it even be better to have those 2 heroes something like this? Maybe something like this could also be interesting, but I think I will just keep it this way. The Barbarian King right there, Minion Prince right there, perfect. And we can maybe also place a Tesla farm at the 6 o'clock side. I think a Tesla farm could be quite annoying, but we will take a look at that in a bit. First off, next thing we want to take care of are of course expos. Expos, it's not too important anymore if they're walkable or not. The main aspect is basically, hey, you don't want to offer too much flame flinger value. So where do we need to take care of flame flingers? Those are basically with those 2 scattershot compartments and with those 2 fire spitter compartments. So we probably have to place an expo right here, an expo right here, and probably 2 expos right here. All ground expos of course, and I think those expos are now going to do quite a bit of work against flame flingers. Of course you still can get a little flame flinger value on this side, but for that we are going to use a few mortars. We of course still have mortars, and mortars are also able to outrange those flame flingers. So now flame flingers on the scattershot, they are of course still possible, but they have gotten significantly harder. And the exact same thing we are also going to do here. And now flame flingers on that side of the base are also a little more annoying. Not impossible, but just a little bit more annoying. Next up on the list are air defenses. And air defenses we have to watch out with 2 things. And that's basically, we don't want to give them away for completely free. And the second thing we need to watch out when it comes to E-Dragon chains. So Electro Dragons are of course a very strong troop. Super Dragons or normal dragons are generally better on Town Hall 17, but still we cannot underestimate the Electro Dragons. And Electro Dragons we of course know they are going to chain buildings that are directly next to each other. So right now the air defense would go down if the Electro Dragon is shooting on the expo, but right now the air defense will stay alive if the Electro Dragon is targeting the expo, or for example the scattershot, or for example the mortar. But now we still have to place something in between, which is going to protect our air defense, but we can also do it something like this. And this will of course also work, and this will of course also make it so whenever the Electro Dragon is targeting the scattershot, the air defense won't go down, the expo is also too far away, and the mortar is also too far away. Of course we'll place a trash building in the outside, and with those trash buildings the Electro Dragon will still be able to take out the air defense. But hey, from the scattershot you are not going to be able to target the air defense, which is quite nice of course. Exact same thing we are going to do right here. Now You can actually take out the air defense if you were to target the ricochet cannon. We can maybe place the ricochet cannon a little bit more inwards. Because lightning spells, well, who uses lightning spells anyway? It doesn't really matter too much. So we don't need to take interest into defending lightning spells too much. And hey, ricochet cannons are not your number one target to take out with lightning spells. The core would of course be much juicier with the spell tower, with one of the sweepers as well as a multi-inferno tower. So that will of course be the first target when it comes to lightning spells. Here we'll place also a few storages. And I think the base is starting to look quite nice. Now we still have 3 builder huts, and where we're going to place those builder huts, we of course want to protect our top. We of course want to protect our high value defenses, so those would be scatter shot, ricochet cannon, multi-archer tower, fire spitter, monolith, and so on. So I think we have to do something maybe like this. Is this going to protect? No, it's not going to protect anything. So I think I will have to put it something right here. Yes, that looks good. That looks good as well. I think this is quite okay. And then we'll place a third one on the top side to protect both of those ricochet cannons as well as the monolith. I think that's quite alright. This one protects 4 key defenses. Well, 3 to 4. Of course, multi-inferno tower, multi-archer tower, scatter shot as well as the expo on the other side as well. That's quite nice. And this one is going to protect 3 buildings as well. Unfortunately, the fire spitters are not protected, but hey, you can't have everything in life, right? You can't have everything in life. And it brings us down to 2 more kinda important defenses, which will be the bomb towers as well as the wizard towers. And we can basically just place them anywhere, it doesn't really matter. I think it's best to place these bomb towers on the 12 o'clock side, because 12 o'clock will most likely be your first target when it comes to a Spirit Fox Walk or a Royal Champion charge. So if you have both of those bomb towers right there, they can do a lot of damage. They might do absolutely nothing, but they can do a lot of damage in some cases. If the RC would of course be, if the RC were to walk over the bomb tower and take out the bomb tower, then the bomb tower would of course go kaboom, and with the kaboom does a lot of damage. Perfect. Maybe it will work out. We will take a look at that very soon. Well, we will see that sooner or later. And we will also place 2 storages there in combination with either a wizard tower, a cannon, or an archer tower. Which one will it be? Most likely the wizard tower, because it has more HP. Perfect. And this of course now looks quite nice. Now the question is, are we going to place our Tesla farm at the top side to defend a Spirit Fox Walk? Are we going to place it at the bottom side to protect our Barbarian King? Or are we going to place it in one of those side compartments to maybe troll the attacker a little bit? But I think we have to place it at the 12 o'clock side. Because if you were to walk to do an RC charge from 3 o'clock to 12 o'clock, it could get a lot of value. To be quite sure, it could get a lot of value, and you would have very nice pathing from the bottom side to get towards the town hall. So we really need to take care of a Royal Champion walk at the 12 o'clock side. So that's where we go. We are going to place our whole Tesla farm in combination with basically every single trap we can imagine. Because, well, that's how we're going. That's how you defend Spirit Fox. That's how you defend a World Champion charge these days. With both a tornado trap as well as every single ground trap you can basically imagine. So we place a giant bomb right there, a giant bomb, another giant bomb, even more giant bombs. Wow, who would have thought we place even more giant bombs? Those are a lot of giant bombs. And then we are going to nuke the absolute hell out of that RC if it were to enter this compartment. Of course, a skeleton trap doesn't really do too much, but we'll place a few skeleton traps there anyway, for the case if there were to be like... Just for the case if there were to be something like a Barbarian King, a Archer Queen, or something else right there. And we, of course, also want to place our NATO right there. Or the big question is, are we going to place our NATO right there? Or are we going to place our NATO into the path of the battle blimp, which is going to go towards the town hall? So most likely, you will place your RC walk at 12 o'clock or at 3 o'clock. And then you will go in with your dragons from this side, from the 4 o'clock side, and send your blimp towards the town hall, so we can maybe intercept the battle blimp with a tornado trap like here. But it would of course be not very multifunctional, and it's also the question if it were to work and all. We'll probably have to test if we will. We probably have to test what's better for our tornado trap, either at the 12 o'clock or at 4 o'clock next to the scatter shot. I'll place it at 12 o'clock for now, just to maybe intercept a Royal Champion walk. If a Royal Champion comes in from the 12 o'clock side, well, good luck. For sure, that's all I can say, good luck. I think I'll place one skeleton trap right here and the second to last giant bomb there as well. And I'll place one more giant bomb right here. Your RC is not going to have a very good time right there in the top compartment. That's all I can say. We of course still have a few small bombs we can place there as well. So one small bomb right there. Then we will place two small bombs right there. One more small bomb right there. And also one more small bomb right there. That RC is not going to have too much fun if it were to enter into the 12 o'clock compartment. Now we of course still have a few wizard towers, and those wizard towers we are mainly going to use to protect both our mortars as well as to protect our air defenses from any oncoming rocket loons. So we will place a wizard tower right here, maybe together with a cannon. Do something like this, and we do the exact same thing on the opposite as well. So a wizard tower right there, as well as a archer tower, and then we can place a wizard tower right here as well, and also a wizard tower right here. It's still possible to directly target the mortar, which I do not really like, but how can we get a solution for that? Maybe I can also place the mortar 2 more inwards, and then place the wizard tower as well as the cannon, something like this. I think this looks quite alright. So we do it like this, we do it like this. Do we place this one inwards one more? We just placed inwards one tile. I think this is quite okay. And now if we were to place a few trash buildings right here, so for example this and this, this and that, also here, this and a barracks as well. You cannot really directly target the air defense nor directly target the mortar. Both of them are protected. Very, very good. I think I'll actually enclose the moat like this, so you cannot really take out the... Just so you protect the multi-archer tower as well as the expo a little bit more. So if you, for example, were to have a queen walk on the outside, then I would still have to walk past this wall in order to take the multi-archer tower, and maybe generally it might ignore the multi-archer tower, which would of course be perfect, because that multi-archer tower is going to do a whole lot of damage towards the archer queen or basically any other troop. And now we can start placing our trash buildings. We do something like this, we do something like these. I generally don't put too much thinking into placing my trash buildings. There are a lot of base builders that actually do. I am not one of them. I just generally place it how I feel like it would make any sense. Or basically just to fill up holes without offering too much value for Electro Dragon Chain. So you always want to try to have 2 tiles in between those trash buildings, so we will take care of that. We'll have to move this as well, and then we will move this as well. So we have 2 tiles in between every single one of those trash buildings on every single side. We can place a spell factory right there. We can place a spell factory right there. We basically want to place a spell factory next to the gold mine. If we were to place a gold mine right there, you can actually use one bowler to take out both of those trash buildings. Not many people will do it, of course, but still, hey, it's better. But of course, it's still best to not give the opportunity at all. Now, same thing on this side. We want to place a gold mine right there. And we will place a few more trash buildings. We always want to have 2 tiles in between them. So we want to have 2 tiles in between the elixir collector and the wizard tower on both of these sides. Perfect. We'll place 1 army camp right there. 1 more army camp right there. We will place our hero hall on the bottom side. Hero hall is actually very tanky. It's not too... It's one of the best... It's actually one of the best trash buildings because it has so much HP. It's basically a storage, while it has even way more health than a storage building. But still, we'll basically waste it on the bottom side. Maybe I will also switch it with the dark elixir storage. However, I currently do not really know how we would be able to do so. However, maybe we can. Maybe we'll take these away. We'll take 1 wall from here. We will also take 1 wall from here. And we will actually enlarge this compartment again. Just like we had in the first case. And we will place a hero hall here instead. And then the dark elixir storage on the outside. Perfect. We'll place a pet house right there, a pet house right there. And we will switch up single thing again. We will move it, we will move it. We can move the spell factory as well. We can move this spell factory. Then we will place another army camp right here. And another army camp right here. Now we can place an electric collector right here. We have to watch out for the boulder bones again. Because a boulder bones can also target a army camp, of course, if the army camp is directly behind the elixir collector or like the building it's targeting. But if we place it 1 more inside and there is 2 tiles in between those, then it's not possible for the boulder to take it out. We place the workshop there as well. And now we basically have our base finished. We can take a look in the scout view. Does it look good? I think it does. I think it does. How would I approach this base if I were an attacker? Of course, current things you need to watch out for is basically our siege charge to funnel for root fighters, as well as our siege charge to funnel for your dragons to take out a specific part of the base, and then you will finish the base off with dragons. And dragons are most likely going to go in from the bottom side. Actually, I would have hoped it. I would have hoped for dragons to mainly go in from the top side, but it's probably not the best idea to go in from the top side, and you will just accept the fact that you are going to face those 2 fire spitters on the backhand. They're probably not going to do too much against your dragons. So I think we have to place all of our air targeting traps roughly on the bottom side, so we can place our air bombs, our red air bombs, something like this, and maybe also a few inside of the town hall compartment, just to maybe take out some clone loon blimps. If they were to play a clone loon blimp, now the bigger question is, what are we going to do with our giga bomb? Are we going to place it directly next to the town hall, or are we going to place it right here? I think right there is a little bit better. We can place our walls together so it's symmetrical again. And I think this is quite okay. Giga bomb right there does make a little sense. Maybe it does. We will have to see. We will do traps. You can always change traps. You can always change traps when testing the base, and you can see, okay, are these traps going to do anything, or would it be better to place them somewhere else? We are going to place our seeking air mines a little bit in the core of the base, just to take out any dragons that want to take out our main defenses, and we of course do not want that. So we are protecting our multi-arch towers, and we are going to protect our multi-inferno towers, as well as of course those scatter shots. Now we still have one seeking armor left, which we are going to place in the top compartments, just to take out any dragon that is going to fly right there. We still have 2 skeleton traps, which I will place right there as well as right there, just to take out any king. And now the last thing which we will have to take care of are, of course, those spring traps, which I actually find the hardest to place on Town Hall 17, because there are not many tactics that can really benefit from those spring traps. Well, you can really stop with those spring traps. Of course, you can place them against headhunters, you can place them against throwers, but throwers are, of course, also not the strongest troop right now. Root Riders won't get... You're unable to defend Root Riders with them, you're unable to defend dragons with them, of course. Queen Shot Hybrid, Queen Shot Hawk Riders are currently not the best meta strategy, so now the question is, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with those spring traps? And I think I'll just put them against headhunters on both of these sides. So a few right there as well as a few right there, because if our heroes, if our air targeting heroes can actually survive for a little bit longer, especially Archie Queen, they can do a significant amount of damage. They can still do a significant amount of damage. So if you were to send in headhunters from the right hand side as well as from the left hand side, maybe you will be able to take out those headhunters and your heroes will survive. We'll have to see that. I will of course test the space, but I'm quite happy with the result. I hope you're happy with watching this video as well and wasting roughly 35 minutes of your lifetime into watching a video. I hope it wasn't completely wasted and you were able to learn something. If so, then please let me know by liking this video and also subscribing to our channel. Really would help us out. I would really appreciate that. If you want to copy the base or try out the base yourself, the base link is of course in the description. With that, I would say see you guys soon with the next video. Until then, see ya and bye bye.